All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It is Thursday. Thursday. The work week is almost over. And as always, the video game news cycle never sleeps, it never ends. And as always, the truth comes whenever the truth is needed. And for reports like this, I think that if there's any time that a truth is needed, it's going to be a day like today, right? Day like today, where we got some interesting reports here, right? Interesting reports that's come out today. And specifically, it's about Redfall, right? Redfall about devs wanting it to be canceled, and so we're going to do a deep dive and see what conclusion can we come to, right? I've seen people on the side of Arkane Studio is blaming Microsoft and throwing them under the bus, and Phil needs to clean house. Uh, it might be, the truth might be a little more. I think probably a little more in the middle of everything here, or it might be nonsense, you know. So we're going to jump into this together, and yeah, let's see what all the hoopla, all the drama is all about, And it's funny, by the way, how okay, we're hearing about so is this where we are now? Hey Zink, what's up, man? And as always, if you want to join, let me know. But is this where we are now as a gaming community where this a game that was released makes news about how apparently the developers wanted it canceled, but when Sony actually does canceled games, like PS5 we canceled so many games. By the way, this was from April of 2023, about a month ago. Or how about this from May 23rd, just last week? Deviation Games PlayStation 5 exclusive is canceled. So when games are actually canceled, you know, nobody's up in arms. Nobody's saying Sony's mismanaging their studios, but a game that was actually released, a fun game that was released. And by the way, it's been about, first of all, Redfall came out a month ago. Redfall came out about a month ago. Now a month later, we're getting this report. Um, so and then this is just such a strange situation to me because if the if the game was so bad, I don't know. First of all, I don't know what goes into decisions on releasing games and all that other stuff, So I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert. I don't bullshit people like that. But if the game was so bad from the start, why not? When it comes to stuff like this, I wonder how much creative control does a developer have, right? Over when they start planning to when it's released, because if these reports are true, and listen, I'm sure there's some tough times developing. That's every video game, especially every major video game, right? But when I see stuff like this, you know what? I think my initial reaction when I saw this was, oh, disgruntled employees. We all have them. We've all worked with them. Hell, some of us are disgruntled employees at our own job, right? And so that was my initial reaction. So yeah, let's. What's up, Issa, Tool Man, and others? Thank you for joining. Everybody else who's is watching right now. Issa here said, I think the issue with Xbox marketing, they make the game out bigger than what it was. I still liked it, but it has faults. Yeah, well, I thought the marketing was fine. They pumped up, they propped up the game. They gave us, hell, they even gave us special edition controllers and a bite back edition version of the game. You know, Redfall got treated better than Hi-Fi Rush. And a part of it's probably because it was a bigger budget game and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think the issue was marketing. If anything, the issue, I don't know, probably time. Because when did Redfall start development? 3 years before they got purchased by Xbox, or was it 1 year before? Oh, let me find out. Let's see if I could find the answer here. So apparently, Redfall started development 2018. They got purchased by Xbox in 2020, and then it released in 2021, right? And both the Legend and Issa agreed that marketing was the issue. And yeah, hey, and very interesting take, guys. And let's see what conclusion we could come to there. But yeah, so apparently Redfall started. So it had a 5-year development window. 5 years, right? And I've always said that's the minimum you need these days in the 4K 60 era to make a quality game. Uh, so apparently started development in 2018, and by started development, I don't know if that means from literally from the ground up, or if the video game asked, like, the ideas and all the other stuff they wanted was done before then, and then everything started to come together then. But let's see. Arkane Studios development of Redfall was reportedly so troubled that its developers hoped Microsoft would cancel the game after acquiring the company in 2020, which I think that's a questionable way to go about it. Yeah, media went overtime to bash the game. That's what happened. Yeah, Wilkins, and they're still bashing it. That's why you get articles like this a month after releasing stuff. My thoughts. Listen, I think Redfall's a fun fucking game. Loving the game, right? And I'm having a blast with it. But at the same time, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Man, it's not you know it's not perfect from any criticism, but that's so what. Show me a game that doesn't have some form of criticism, right? But yeah, so apparently they wanted the game, which I don't know. Could you not go? I don't, again, 2020 was a wild time. You find out that Bethesda purchased by Xbox. You got new bosses, so maybe they were too scared to go. Maybe they were too scared to say something. I don't know, but it's just weird that if they want the game canceled so bad 3 years ago, they couldn't have said something. They couldn't have tried to get, say, hey man, Phil, I hear Phil's a good guy. Let's see what that our new bosses say about it or whatnot. Because here's the thing, Xbox, if anything, is known for being way too hands off. One of the criticism I've seen, the opposite criticism towards Xbox, where people say that Xbox needs to be harder on their devs, and they need to essentially be be more quicker to cancel games and so forth, right? I've seen that type of criticism before. So the fact that apparently Microsoft, the conclusion that we're supposed to come to is that they're essentially forced Arkane to read Redfall. Something's not clicking there, right? Nice guy. I'm like one of the 3 people on the planet who defends Nice Guy Phil, right? And we call him Nice Guy Phil because he'll be the first to tweet out congratulations Sony when a game releases, and congratulations Nintendo when they win Video Game of the Year. And he'll be the first to say, listen, they've been saying for years now how they're hands off, right? Uh, and want developers to create their own they want creators, they want their developers to be have creative freedom and all that stuff, right? Let's see. So yeah, so something isn't really clicking here. But let's see what Wilkins here say. It makes total sense that Microsoft internal reviews rated Redfall higher when critics who previewed the game at Arkane Austin were weeks before gave it almost universal praise, including Mr. Matty Play. Yeah. And I'm with you there, Wilkins. I'm with you there. So that's a good point, because before it was come out, the previews were pretty much almost universally positive, and then after release, it was the total opposite. And I don't know. Does that not tell you that maybe maybe the way that these game companies are marketing games and showing games to people, and who they choose aren't the best option? Because I could see Matty Plays or Colt Eastwood not wanting to step on toes. Well, they get invited out, they get flown out, they get free Xbox and stuff from Xbox and stuff, free content from them, and then when the game comes out, totally different reaction. Some there just doesn't add up. We're considering now all of a sudden it's a bad game according to those same frauds. I understand Phil's frustration. Yeah. From that interview he did about 3 or 4 weeks ago. where he would but that comes with being the boss, man. When you be the boss, at the end of the day, a lot of this responsibility is going to fall on your shoulders, and it's your job, even if it's not your fault, it's your job to manage the ship, right? And I think Phil has done a good job, great job, really, since Redfall come out saying the right things. We're going to support them, we're going to support the vision, and all this other stuff. Hey, do you think we'll get a Gears of War collection, Doomslayer? Good question. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm trying to think. Well, Gears 5 did release 4 years ago. Gears 5 released 4 years ago. Gears 4 came out in 2016. And we know Gears 1 through Judgment are probably over a decade, well over a decade old at this point. With that said, they did the gear. If they do a collection, I don't know, because they did Gears Ultimate Edition back in 2015, right? So and we haven't seen a Gears 2 Ultimate Edition or Gears 3, so I don't even know how they would package it, because they already did a remake of the first game. So I guess it'll be included free, and then the other two would be remade. So yeah, right now, Doomslayer, good question, but I'm on the side of I doubt it. I doubt we're gonna get a Gears collection. I think we'll get Gears 6 before we get a Gears collection, Doomslayer. Microsoft inherited ZeniMax, whose shareholders assumed games as a service was the way out if they didn't get bought. Yeah, that's a good point. And games as a service, we see. I mean, Xbox got plenty of games that I guess you could say a game like State of K2 is a service, because it gets updated, it has new content and all that other stuff. And we've seen that game's been wildly successful even after it didn't light the review world on fire. Same with Sea of Thieves, and then you got the games that did both, like Halo and Forza. So yeah, Microsoft has a good track record with these games as a service games, right? Should Redfall have been one? Probably not. I'll say this: the only thing that I don't like is that always online issue with Redfall, because I just don't like getting kicked out my game. After, or you know how it is. If you don't play for a long time, it sends you back to the home screen and stuff like that, instead of pick up where you left off, which I think Redfall would be better suited for. That's where Redfall came from. Phil just didn't want to waste that development and cancel. Yeah, man, because I mean, video game development, as we know, is expensive as hell, and so I do not blame Phil for not wanting. It wouldn't be the same, Wilkins in chat, as Scalebound, but I get it. You don't want to have another canceled AAA game, especially when you already revealed and all this other stuff. And here's the thing: when the Xbox brass first saw Redfall in 2020, because if I remember correctly, it was first revealed at their summer showcase in 2021. So it's safe to assume they saw the original build way before then, and they probably thought they were probably being sold. Here's the thing. Actually, here's the thing. Arkane Studios. So let's say however the process goes, right? So Microsoft brass goes to Arkane and say, "Hey, what are you guys working on? Oh, we're working on this game called Redfall. So tell me about it." If Arkane Studios sold them on a game that's doing well, why the hell would they cancel it? A report like this does kind of need more information, because the game was already released. This is not a situation like Scalebound or this Deviation Games where it's already canceled. So since it's already canceled, do you really need more? How much more info do you need on a canceled fucking game that we're never going to play? But something like this, we're being told one thing, but yeah, we do need context on, okay, what was Microsoft sold then? Hey, what's up, Terrence Smith? What was Microsoft sold that they didn't cancel it? Because I don't know. I don't know how Phil runs his ship over at Xbox, but I'd be hard pressed to believe that he's so hands off that you could just show him a JPEG and he green lights it. That just doesn't make sense. Or Matt Booty or Sarah Bond or whoever else is in the process of approving these games, right? Because that just doesn't make any sense. So I would assume that when Xbox brass first got Bethesda and ZeniMax and Arkane sold them on Redfall. I would be stunned. I'd be stunned if what happened was the leads at Arcane was like, this is Redfall, this isn't working out. We want to pivot to something out, and Xbox said, no, you guys, we just spent all this money. Continue. Now, if that's what happened, then again, well, so be it. Then it shows a different side of Phil, because the Phil Spencer that we all know and love and some hate is a one of our studios got free creative freedom, and I just visited Ninja Theory the other week and saw the progress of Arcane. I can't wait till you guys see it. That's the Phil we're used to. Right, Elder Scrolls Online does great. Yeah, man, plenty of these games do really good. There's not even anything that is live service in Redfall besides the only online only. There are no microtransactions. Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So I'll say that I don't think Redfall needed to be always online. And even when playing it, I'm not. I forgot what reason they gave. I think it was the untethered co-op. So Xbox might have influenced ZeniMax to take out the live service stuff. There were screenshots of the main menu with the shop during development. Oh, good eye there, Wilkins. Good eye, because yeah, if I could find that screenshot, that would be great to put up on screen. Good point there, Wilkins. They probably did tell him to take it out. Which, if it that sounds like it was a good thing then for a lot of people, because a lot of people are very vocal about their hate of microtransactions. So if Xbox was vocal on, hey, get rid of the store and just keep everything in game, that sounds like a plus to me. All right. So according to the article here, they're anonymous sources from Arcane, basically, and anonymous sources, and things allegedly came so bad despite having put 2 years into Redfall at the time of the Xbox acquisition. Stats which should be rebooted into a single player game or canceled altogether. See, when I see stuff like this, I wonder who voiced their opinion. Who voiced their opinion, right? And what was it somebody higher up? Was it somebody not? I just I, you know I just I'm just not sure, because if it's a low level employee, right? Someone who's not high on the totem pole who's saying this anonymously, well, no wonder why the game didn't get canceled, because you don't have a high enough stake or high enough rank in the company to say, to pull something like that off. That they wanted to be rebooted, canceled altogether. The switch to multiplayer focus, which was reportedly pushed by the parent company ZeniMax, appeared to be a major cause of Redfall's issues. Developers who worked on single player Prey and Dishonored were now working on a multiplayer game. First of all, it's not a multiplayer game; it's a co-op game, and that's a difference. All right. Well, I mean, because when I think multiplayer, I think of versus, player PvP and stuff like that. This when you're playing co-op, because again, you're not forced to play co-op. It's PvE, player versus enemy, and you could hook up with your friends and y'all don't ever fight each other. I I don't know. So maybe it is multiplayer focus, and I got my terms mixed up. Terrence Smith said, I'm irritated because ponies like Dreamcast guy try to push the narrative that Xbox caused this. Bull, it was ZeniMax before Microsoft purchased. Yeah. And as we just saw, man, apparently the switch to multiplayer was pushed by ZeniMax. So, but again, like I said, Terrence, when you're, that's part of the leadership position. It's going to fall on you even when it's not your fault. So it's your job to manage. It's your job to manage these things. And that's why, I think Phil's done a fine job so far. I think Phil's done a real good job so far. And sorry guys, just momentarily distracted. Okay, yeah, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, Terrence. But yeah, you're spot on, man. If if that's the case, it sounds like Microsoft was just letting the project finish. You know, again, everything I'm saying is there's no 100% facts because reports like this are a lot of he say she say, anonymous sources, uh, probably we disgruntled or former employees. So if the game was outright canceled, like this Deviation game, PlayStation 5 exclusive is canceled. And by the way, nobody gave a shit when this game was canceled, which I always find funny. This gets no outrage. Sony's saying we cancel so many games. Part of the game industry, by the way, for stuff to be canceled that we've never seen. Let's see. Issa said, "Yeah, man, I can't imagine Phil just greenlighted JPEG." Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly, Issa. And that's what makes reports like this, just so baffling. Because there's 1,000,000% there's more to it than just Phil showed up one day, lazily saw the bare minimum, got no info, got no info, got nothing related to the game. Like, okay, well, since you guys already started, go finish. What do I care? I got vacation to go to. Mm-mm. That's not how stuff like that operates. I doubt Phil Spencer was hands off too. He's only hands off in the sense that he respects Arkane Austin's vision. Yeah. Oh, well, you're right, because remember, we're talking about the same Phil Spencer that closed Lionhead Studios and canceled Scalebound. So even historically, Phil track record isn't kumbaya like he is on Twitter, right? Where he's just so again. These people at Xbox, your Matt Booties, your Sarah Bonds, your Phil Spencers, they are not. I'm telling you guys, these guys are not bad, or not lazy, or not bums, or not bad at their job. It's the complete opposite, or else they wouldn't have the high level positions they do now. And they not only would they not have these high level positions, they wouldn't be allowed to purchase the studios and publishers that they are if they were bums, basically. So yeah, so Phil Spencer, the guy who closed Lionhead and canceled Scalebound and canceled Fable Legends, I'm pretty sure that whatever he saw Redfall, he had confidence in at the time, And not only did he have confidence at the time, I'm confident that Phil was sold a message of, hey, things are better than they are. So when I see reports like this, again, my initial reaction, chat, and hey, thanks for joining. My initial reaction is disgruntled employees first. Because here's the thing, like I said, Deviation in PlayStation 5 exclusive is canceled. Nobody cares. Sony literally says we cancel so many games, nobody cares. Redfall released a month ago, and people still want me to be outraged over it. That's just not how it is. And others, thank you for joining, man.
Hey, man, what's going on, man? I apologize by not standing on deck.
Oh, okay. No, you good, man.
Hey, man, but anyway, I hope my audio is okay.
Yeah, you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm playing Hebot and I'm driving between state lines, but I'll be home soon. But I didn't want to take the chance on missing out on this. And what Jason Schreier did, Jason Schreier, first of all, is a jackass idiot. Okay. What Jason Schreier actually did was, this is a diversion tactic. Sony is going through pure hell right now. So you elect to write an article on a game that came out number 3, because this released a month ago.
Yeah,
it came over 30 days ago, and so it came out at number 3. I think it dropped to 9, then dropped to 14, then dropped to 19, and now it's at number 31 on most games played. And it just happened because I checked it yesterday and it was at 19. So today is 31st on the list, okay, out of the top 40. All right. So that's 4 weeks.
Right.
Okay. How many Sony games last that long? All right. So, this is just a diversion tactic. What they doing? You pull out an old game, and let's look at it this way. Unlimited Production and chat. I can't see the chat because I'm driving down the street, but look at it this way. Here you have a game. Okay, we're back to mismanagement, right? So here you have a game that they didn't want to finish. What janitor was he talking to? So now what does that say to factions? So you don't have nothing to say about factions, a
Oh,
game that was,
excellent point.
you know what I'm saying? You don't have nothing to say about that. You know what I'm saying? You have nothing to say about a game that's been in production for 4 years. Oh, and then they give some tall tale talking about, oh, this multiplayer is so ambitious, it's going to be its own separate game. And they fell for that. So this game is over here super canceled, talking
Hmm.
about, well, hey Jason, where's your article at demeaning Sony and their mismanagement? They released a game they made people pay $70 for. Now you were going to release factions, but factions will never be made. Where's everybody's article at on that?
Yeah.
Eh,
So look, not only that, Sony has had canceled games. Factions is nowhere to be found. Their games don't make money, as what they literally said last year. And oh, that's right. Don't forget Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog had internal issues in terms of stuff like staff being overworked and all that shit.
Hey,
Um,
that's why their games cost so much because they don't have an elite staff. They don't have that many people working for them. So most of their employees are already contract workers. That's before a pandemic. Okay, that's before pandemic, and I think Redfall was actually being made in 2017, not 2018, and Microsoft bought them in 2020.
mhm,
And then they had to stop that awful ass PlayStation version and
yep.
the other lower versions and then make Redfall this way. Okay. And I'll tell you something, Unlimited. Could you please find the open world game that Sony has that's this good? You dude, I I've literally found another way to play the game. I said on another show, Ray show last night. I
Mhm.
told him I was like, dude, I infiltrated a house. Okay, I infiltrated a house. I used that state gun. I forget the name of it, but it's called a butcher or something. I used one of those state guns uh, because it makes less noise. I was killing people. So I closed the doors into this house. So I'm walking around the house. These jokers are not in here yet. So I started shooting people through the window. So a couple of them were alerted. One guy was walking past this barn. I shot the propane tank he was walking past, burned his ass up. So now they really on to me. So these jokers start coming through the door. As soon as they opened that door, I hit them with that flare gun, caught them on fire. Then went closed the door. Then I'm waiting on somebody. I saw somebody else come by the window. I shot him in his head. Another guy opened. I heard him open a door in the back, down the hallway. I went, killed him, closed that door. I was manning the house after I snuck up in there. This is the type of shit I'm doing in this game. No cutscenes. The cutscenes only happen when you complete a mission. It's pure gameplay.
Right.
The way you want it, and the terrain is awesome. I don't know how many mountains you climbed up, but if you on a oh, here's another thing I wanted to tell you. You said you didn't want it to be always online. That's a good point. But I met this one boss unlimited,
Mhm.
and sometimes you have to figure the boss out. So I had to figure this boss out. So I said, okay, I'm gonna put this away. I know where this guy is, so I'll play it the next day. Unlimited, they moved the circle where the boss was. They put it
Mhm.
on another part of the map. So now I have to fight. So I had a safe house nearby. So I said, cool, I can load up my weapons. So I come home from work today. Then I have to go back out. But I said, let me try and get in a little of this game. So I turned the game on. They moved the map again. This time they moved it in an open area where I did not have a safe house. So now I'm going to have to go through an area and fight people on my way there. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have that ready-made safe house to go to get your weapons to come back and fight. You know,
Right.
so that's one of the advantages. And I think, like I said before, what they did with Gears, the reason it's always online, the AI controls the game.
Right.
Is controlled by cloud technology. So maybe that's one of the reasons. I don't know, but man, I really like the game. But he waits a month and he talked to a couple people that probably did contract janitorial work, and
Hmm.
he have all of this shit to say. But here's the key thing: the game released.
Yes,
It released.
exactly.
And Unlimited, I heard one of the girls was so upset that people were bashing the game that a developer, she cried about it. That don't sound like somebody that was forced to make a game. See, he said they were forced to make this game. They wanted Microsoft to cancel it. Really? Well, why was this chick crying? Because of the way people were talking about the game. And I don't play games on sympathy. I love this game. I did the same thing to the division. And my cousin called me. He was like, "I bet your street's not safe." I was like, "Shit." We talking about the division a long time ago. I said,
Mhm.
"Shit, you could eat a sandwich off my streets." I'm like, "We don't have you don't have no bad people over here." I was killing everything, dude. I I started attacking vampires now, because I to beat this last boss, I think I need to be better than a level 24.
Right,
So, because I want a 25 level gun or something, because this that boss is giving me some problems.
right.
I had to change my whole gun setup because it wasn't working. Oh, and you know how you had that special power unlimited where you could
Mhm.
unleash something like you released that robot?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't released that dude yet. I'm playing with the girl. I don't even use him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm over here whooping this game's ass by myself. I'm like, dude, nah, I'm running this straight solo. So yeah, man, I really really like the game. It's like E-Rock said, he was
Mhm.
absolutely spot on. It's just like the division.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. And,
just
and oh, sorry there,
but
Zink.
no, go ahead, man.
Oh no, no. I was just going to address the chat before I let Hebot speak. And Hebot, thank you for joining us.
Yes, He-Bot is here.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
I could go do something
Yes,
else.
sir.
Hey,
Yes,
He-Bot,
sir.
I'm over here taking your place, man. I'm doing the rest of your job. I'm traveling across state lines. I got to pick
Oh,
up
I
shit.
see that. I heard.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Well, cool, man. I'm gonna fade to black and listen to the show going to this last store here and make my way home. I'm glad you pulled up. Help Unlimited out a second.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. All
All
right.
right, man. I'll be back on.
All right,
Yeah.
Zink.
Yep.
Yeah, so before my brother Hebot speak on it, let me just address the chat real quick. All right, Issa here said people seem to forget that Phil Spencer passed on Knights of the Old Republic remake. By the way, that game's been delayed indefinitely. Just makes you wonder what state of the game Redfall was in to give him the okay. Yeah, listen, like I said, Issa, there's no way possible that people at Xbox saw this terribly developed game and was like, just go ahead and put it out regardless, right? That's just not how things work. Um, hey, what's your favorite fighting game? Mine is the original Killer Instinct. Oh, my all-time favorite is Mortal Kombat from on the Sega Genesis. What about you, Heba? What's your favorite fighting game?
Fighting game like 2v2.
Yeah.
Honestly, you guys won't probably believe me, but my favorite fighting game of all time is the Virtual Fighter.
Oh, nice choice.
Virtual Fighter has always been my marquee game. Cage the Ninja,
Hmm.
but it's a very difficult game because it's a lot of it has to do with parry and counter combat. It's not like it's not just to get in there and just you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I also used to enjoy Eternal Champions back in the day in Genesis.
Hmm.
I thought that one was pretty dope. But my all-time favorite fighting game has always been Virtual Fighter, and then when DOA came out,
Hmm.
the dead on the Xbox.
Hmm.
I really got into the DOA as well, especially the DOA 4. I thought DOA 4 was almost perfect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I can't lie though. I also enjoy Power Stone. Power Stone
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty
that was a
fucking dope.
that game was awesome back on the
Shit,
Dreamcast.
Power Stone was fun. That was a dope game. You
Yeah.
know, and the fact that you fight using the environment while you're fighting.
Hmm.
And it was like in a different type of angle, but you had all that verticality while you're playing it, right? While you're fighting,
Hmm.
jumping. It almost felt like you could platform and fight at the same time. It's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
yeah. That game that game was Smash Bros before Smash Bros even came
Right,
out.
right. In a different type of angle too.
Yeah,
But it
yeah,
was basically Smash Bros. And the idea way before that, right? And especially when you played part two. Because remember, part two was 4v4.
right, right.
Or was it 2v2? It was, I know it was 4 players. It was something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Or,
I know the game was awesome. The game was so much
mhm.
fun. I mean, you couldn't let go and just kept playing hours upon hours whenever you played Power Stone.
Right.
I heard my favorite deck puller is up to his old schemes like always.
Oh, who? Paul Tossi?
Paul Tassi, huh?
Oh, what was he? Oh, yeah, yeah. Hold on. We're gonna Treasure. I'm gonna let you go in on him in a second. Let me just
Mhm.
catch up on the chat real quick. Terrence
Sure,
Howard
sure.
said, "Ponies try to use this article as a W right after leaks of Fable going to be at the showcase." Oh, wow, Fable's going to be at the showcase. That's awesome. I can't
Mhm.
wait to see that, man.
Well, they hinted at it, but it looks like more than likely it's a probable thing. I think
Right.
Microsoft is going to honestly. I think Microsoft is just going to go in and try to showcase as much of those games in development as
Hmm.
possible. They're not going to care really about release dates or
Right.
you're showing it too early. I think this time they're going with the mindset of let's just show them what we're working on, and if it's good, they're gonna just be patient and they'll be okay. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
Um,
they got a lot of backlash for last year's 12 months thing they did.
Well, I mean, that was an estimation. I mean, and I think it was a pretty educated
Mhm.
estimation based on what they see internally, right?
Right.
Because when a developer's telling you, listen, how long you think we guys need before you can finally finish and release the game?
Hmm.
Especially when there's billions of dollars involved, because Bethesda is the billion-dollar developer, so is you know Arkane Studios, and things like that. They're not gonna be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do it. We'll be ready in 4 months, and then just out of nowhere be like, well, no, now we need another year. That's not how that works,
Right.
right? I really think that Microsoft wanted to give them enough time to, as possible, to polish it the best they could to make the best game they possibly can present to
Hmm.
their fan base. You know what I mean? And as you remember when Phil spoke on that IGN, on that bullshit kind of funny interview they did,
Hmm.
where people didn't read between the line all the things he was saying and try to skew everything he said to something else.
Hmm.
He said that the game was reviewed internally well,
Yep.
meaning that whoever played the game internally, the beta testers, whoever was trying it out, which those people a lot of times are an NDA, right? Because they can't really
Hmm.
speak. They all gave the game good praises. And it seems like that's been the actual consensus with the game, with everybody that I hear talking about it, right?
Right.
Like I'm not talking about somebody that's foolish that acts like Jack Knife that be like, oh, that shit's garbage and never even tried the game
Right.
or never even looked at it, never even loaded it up. He's just going based on the stupidity he hears from the media or the Metacritic scores and automatically wants to make it these stupid statements acting like, oh, what he said, oh, the
Hmm.
game was returned. It was the most returned game, or the other guy that was talking to
Yeah,
him. And I'm
yeah,
like, well, show proof because it's on Game Pass. Number one, you can't return games on Game Pass, like you
yeah.
said. And number two, it was on number three as far as the bestseller. You know what I mean? So if it was the
Hmm.
most returned game, show the evidence and the data where it shows that, right?
Yeah. Like with Returnal.
Right. Like what was going on with Returnal, exactly. Or like what was going on with Last of Us 2 when people were returning it because they were unhappy about what was going on. Where there's
Right.
actual physical evidence and proof.
Yeah.
Right. And then he'll be like, oh, you guys are full of shit. No, because we see it. You see it on Twitter, you see it on Instagram, you see it on YouTube. The proof is
Hmm.
there. But when they say comments and statements or accusations about Xbox, they'll say, oh yeah, this is what happened, but they can't show you proof because there isn't any.
Right.
It's just them making those statements based on what they think is going on because of the game getting backlash or people giving it bad Metacritic scores, which
Right.
really it's not going to matter. At the end of the day, it's the gamer that does the talking. We've always said this. But the general consensus I'm getting is that with Redfall, because again, I still haven't been able to even play it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so behind, right? And plus I was sick and everything. Um, is that people like what the game has to offer as far as the gameplay, the structure, how you play the game, and the environment, the settings. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with the mixture of that Alan Wake kind of feel,
Mm-hmm.
mixed with Borderlands and the Division, and you know, as far as how you loot, I guess, or you uh, what you call it, release your certain areas, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm talking about, right? Um, and even and, you know, and the story is you know above average. It's pretty cool. It's not what the main meat of the game is. It's the game itself. And yet people are like, oh no, but it's garbage. No, no, no. That's not how that works because the most important element in the game is gameplay. And if the game can have great gameplay as far as fun factor goes, as far as entertaining you, as far as what you can do together as a squad. I keep saying this, and I've said this many times. Even if the game has glitches, right, and
Mm-hmm.
has problems, you're still going to enjoy the game. That means the game is still good. Doesn't mean that is the game is good technically. Yeah, it can have technical issues, but that doesn't mean the game is bad. The game itself, right?
Right.
Because glitches and technical issues are not the derivative of what the game is when you're playing it or how it feels when you're playing it. If it's fun, same thing with frame rate. You can have low frame rate, high frame rate. Doesn't mean the game's not gonna be fun because you know we played Gotham Knight and I had hella fun and Gotham Knight was
Yeah.
30 frames,
Yeah. I love that game.
right? The same way when you play a co-op, it used to crash sometimes. That
Mm-hmm.
was one of the biggest problems, but you still were having a good time. And most of the frustration came from, damn, we were having a good time and the shit crashed on us again. You get what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Like there's a distinguished difference between those two things that people don't understand. A game having technical issues doesn't mean a game is bad. I'll say it again. It's like when we played Double Dragon back in the day, as an example, because a lot of people can relate if they know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a stage where you get into the warehouse where the elevator comes up and the boss comes out of the elevator. And every time that part of the game came,
Mm-hmm.
it had maybe 5 little NPCs on the screen, and it always slowed down to like 9 or 12 or 10 or 5 frames per second.
Right.
It was like really bad, but it was always in that general area. It's a technical issue the game had. It never made the game bad though. Nobody cared. Even playing it back then, we just like kept playing it. Oh, it's slowing down. Okay, whatever, and just kept playing it and had a good time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's why I use it as an example because it's the same thing with games today. Although the games today have bigger issues, obviously, because you know they can have crashes or bugs or clip walls or you know all kinds of other things because they're more sophisticated, more advanced. Making a world in 3D is difficult to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch that documentary where I showed where they showed, remember that I put up the little clip where I showed where it shows that Sony was trying to be greedy and jerk Nintendo, which everybody claimed it was the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
Even in that documentary, it speaks about the nightmare, how scared developers were transitioning from 2D to 3D because they didn't know how they were going to be able to create the world without having spaces where it looked empty and having, you know, clip walls and areas where you didn't fall through the characters. Like it was a real big learning curve and big task for them to actually learn to tackle, right?
Right.
So the games were finally full 3D.
Right.
And so you know, talking from a technical standpoint and a professional standpoint, being a developer itself, that's why I get upset because people don't know how to distinguish the difference between the two, right?
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is that from my experience, the game doesn't even have technical issues like that. I could think of 2 times at the top of my head where I noticed something just significant, right? And
Right. Okay.
and and, and to that I say, I played. Listen, I got a PlayStation 5. I played some Sony games that had that issues, and I've never bitched that I didn't Horizon because of the glitch. I bitched because I thought the game was boring. Because to
Boring,
me,
absolutely.
yeah,
Right.
because to me, to listen, if someone came in and said I didn't like Redfall, I don't sweat them, But when
Mhm.
they, but when someone will come here and say that will tell me what to think, like, oh, I'm being delusional. Somebody said that in the chat earlier. I forgot who.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, don't tell me what to think, right? Uh, and, and, but let me tie it all together. And hold on, real quick. Zenny DBZ said Phil passed on Spider-Man on Xbox. Fan, I don't know what to say. Listen, I like Spider-Man. It's a fun game. Not the
That
world's
wasn't
greatest
that
video
wasn't how,
game,
but that wasn't how it was
but
either. That
yeah,
was also taken out of context.
very
Phil
much.
passed up on a Marvel game that
Mhm.
was offered to him at the time when Microsoft was transitioning into concentrating on getting new studios to acquire because they had no first party studios, they had very little. And during the transition where they had already helped people like Respawn with Titanfall, Capcom with Dead Rising 3, the Max Curse of the Brotherhood, which was I forgot the name, Press Play. They also had helped the other people that did games like Comic Jumper, which was what the hell was their name? Which I really
Twisted
love,
Pixel, I think.
Twisted Pixel, that they also did, Local Psycho. They also had help, Moon Studios with Ori. The list goes on and on. The people who did PUBG, and obviously Studio MDHR that did Cuphead. All these studios they helped, and what they did, they wanted to put it on another platform or went and put other games on another platform or console. So that was the era when Phil said, no more. We're
Right.
not going to do that no more. Now we're going to concentrate
On
on doing
owning.
things internally, owning and buying. That is why he passed up on Marvel Spider-Man. And again, Marvel Spider-Man is only the talk of the town because it was exclusive to PlayStation, because there's
Mhm.
been 36 games before that one, and no one gave two flying fucks when there were great Spider-Man games.
Thir-
Because again,
36, 36 games in 40 years. 40
and, yeah,
years.
in 40 years, right? And because again, I'll ask anybody that always brings up the Marvel Spider-Man stupid comment, or because that's a stupid comment and a stupid conversation. What did Insomniac did in the Spider-Man PS4 game that was never done before by any studios, inclusively by a studio named Beanox that worked under Activision? Because the answer is nothing. Everything that Insomniac did, everything from how they approached the story aspect, the quick time events, the acquiring suits, side missions, even how you web sling in your combat, was all the ideas and straight structure that was created by Beanox.
Right.
Whether y'all want to hear it or not, too fucking bad. It wasn't Somniac that did anything new. It was even the new one with that whole symbiote situation where the symbiote is, going to be merged with his
Mhm.
regular suit. That was something they did in the Shattered Dimensions, I believe, where
Shattered
you could
Dimensions, Web of Spider-Man,
web a spider, where you could become
Spider-Man friend or foe.
right, right.
What's that other one? Ultimate Spider-Man, I think
Mm-hmm.
had the symbiote Spider-Man as well.
Where you would acquire the powers of the suit. That's
Hmm.
not a new idea, okay? So let's stop this nonsense. Talk about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not going to save PlayStation. That's number one. I'm going to let y'all know right now. For all you Sony fans that are in delusion, Spider-Man is not saving PlayStation. And the only reason that the Spider-Man sold well is, God honest truth, the only reason it did well was because of two things. One, because of the PlayStation being exclusive and everybody pushing that narrative, from the media to Marvel themselves. Marvel never funded any of their fucking games ever,
Right.
ever, ever. It was Activision who funded it. They made a
Mhm.
deal. Activision funded, so Activision would only put a certain amount of money
Mhm.
because they had to worry about their big titles and flagship games like a Call of Duty, right? Because that made them billions,
Right.
right? Marvel never put a dime, but when Marvel wanted Tobey Maguire or Toby, right? Yeah, what Toby? No, not Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland to play Spider-Man in the movies in the MCU, and Sony's the one that has the license to the movies. They knew they had to give and make a deal, and that's why they cut the deal with Activision, and we're trying to fish and make deals with other people. And it was Sony who did it at the time because they didn't need to buy studios; they already had. And that's when Sony suggested, "Oh, why don't you do it with Insomniac? They're a team that we worked in the past, and they do great work, but they're independent." And when Sony finally saw that Spider-Man sold well, because all the Marvel fans out there were like, "Oh my God," because finally they saw a game in Spider-Man with a big budget, with big presentation, because Marvel funded the game. That's when you saw that Sony had the interest and went and bought Insomniac, because then they wanted to capitalize on what was going on. Because before then, they didn't give two flying fucks. I mean, anything Insomniac did, even though Insomniac has done like 15 or 17 Ratchet and Clank games for them that supposedly were successful, right? So again, all that rhetoric just shows that you guys are not real gamers. Your palette of gaming is very, very little, right? You're more of casual gamers, and you don't really play games in general as a whole. You play whatever's popular. If Spider-Man, oh yeah, that's the talk of the town. Listen, Spider-Man's not gonna be bigger than Starfield, because no Bethesda game has ever failed in any way, shape, or form. Even with problems like Fallout, they always have a big following. People love their games.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be, just sweep under the rug over Forza. Yes, it might sell a little more, maybe, but it ain't gonna sweep over the floor with Forza, because Forza is too big and does too well. Okay, even if it's the Motorsport series, it still does well. And whatever else game comes out, it's not going to just shit all over it. Okay? Because the biggest difference is whoever's on the Xbox ecosystem, whether it's on console PC or on a tablet, they're going to play the games on Game Pass day one. They don't have to buy it forcefully. If they don't have the money, they don't have to worry about, damn, I don't have the money. How the fuck can I buy the game I really want? They can still play it. And when they get money, they can buy it. There's nothing forced. It's freedom. It's called freedom of choice on Xbox. That's why you get the biggest bang for your buck, because they give you freedom of choice, freedom of being able to play, freedom of being able to enjoy what everybody else is enjoying, even from buying the console. Because you can go to get Xbox All Access and buy the console, and like you're buying it like layaway style, and pay it slowly for 2 years straight with no interest, and play games. You know how you can't do that with PlayStation.
Right.
Can't do that with Nintendo. Okay.
Right. And oh yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, no. I was just saying from what you were saying, what was I saying? Gonna say.
Lost the train of thought. That's okay, Papa.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Terrence Smith said, "Unlimited." You heard Microsoft lawyers rip the CMA a new asshole in the appeal hearings. Yeah, and Hebot probably gonna do we got next on that. So I'm gonna put a lid on that.
Yeah, but we could bring it up. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, I want to bring up another topic personally.
Go ahead, bring it up.
A little in a second. It looks like Zink's trying to get back in here too. Even said Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man 2 runs on the Sunset Overdrive engine.
Yes, which was also funded by Microsoft money. Which is another reason.
Hold on. You were going off. Whoever that guy was that jumped in the chat and said Phil Spencer passed up on Spider-Man, hey, bro, you walked around the wrong corner. You stepped in the wrong alley. Too many people on this show know too much shit. You better take that bullshit to somebody else's podcast. We know the origin of everything that happened in gaming since 1976, dude. Finish your shit.
Yeah, no. I'm glad that gentleman brought another great point that I also didn't mention. The whole existence of the Spider-Man universe in the game is because Microsoft funded that engine that Sunset Overdrive was created on. It was funded by, and Insomnia came out and said, without that Sunset engine.
I was just about to cuss your ass out. I thought you would leave that out. Go ahead, finish.
So they said, without that engine existing, Spider-Man wouldn't be a thing, because Sony didn't pay for the funding of that engine. It was Microsoft, which is another reason why Microsoft passed off on the Marvel offer, which you're trying to make it seem like it was Phil being stupid passing it off, which that wasn't the case. Phil was thinking about bigger and better things long term, not just for the moment. He didn't want just one game to rule them all, like he said in his interview. We don't believe in that motto. We believe on all games from all genres, from all generations, for all gamers to rule them all. Not one.
Hey,
We tell Sony down.
tag team, let me get in on some of this.
Mhm.
Furthermore, dude, whoever you were, the reason
Mhm.
Phil Spencer don't want to ride with those Marvel heroes because he like to own the property. Hey, this,
Mhm.
Oh,
this is
that's
a little
funny.
point for you, dude.
Mhm.
If you get married, you have kids, you want to strive to own things. Therefore, when you pass away, you can pass ownership to your children. Go ahead.
Mhm. Absolutely great. It's another great point.
And Zink did what he usually accused us of doing and saying stuff too fast right there.
Exactly.
Let me
Zinc.
elaborate, let me elaborate on Zink because Zink said what I forgot to say about Microsoft wanting to own things, and it ties to what T-Bot was saying about how Microsoft funded all these engines, whether it was Remedies or Insomniacs or
Alan Wake
funding.
2. Alan Wake 2 is because of Microsoft funding the engine, which is called the North Light engine.
Yep, and that's why, and that's see, and that's the thing. So Microsoft saw that. See, last generation, and I think Phil even talked about this in an interview, was a learning curve in that
Mhm.
he learned the biggest lesson he learned: own everything.
Yes.
No more letting studios borrow. No more supporting. And by supporting studios, I don't mean give them money. You know how they pay for games on Game Pass, and how
Mhm.
paying for Game Pass is paying for development costs. That's not what I mean by support, but more so in the sense of, okay, hey, we fund Moon Studios game, and they objectively and publicly do backlash towards us, saying, well,
Mhm.
why aren't all these games should be multi-plat, basically, or whatever the head of Moon Studios said years ago,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Or the Cuphead guys. Remember, Cuphead was a lifetime, and I remember specifically
Lifetime exclusive
was a
alongside.
lifetime exclusive.
Wait. I caught you in a lie, brother. I caught you in a lie. I love you, but you just lied.
Uh-oh.
Because it wasn't just Cuphead. It was also Ashen, if you remember.
Oh
Ashen was a
yeah.
lifetime exclusive as well. And the developer did the same bullshit. Can we put it on another platform? Go
As you
ahead,
see
you
on
continue.
screen, as you saw,
Mhm.
gorgeous Xbox One PSC game Cuphead will never release on PlayStation 4.
Yes, sir.
Dev confirms. And the reason why I point this out is because it ties into what to Mr. Zenny DBZ and about how Phil's passed on Spider-Man. No, it's not. It's not only that he passed on Spider-Man. He passed on stuff he can't buy, he can't own, and he
Mhm.
learned that when we control our games, everything's
Mhm.
smoother. Look how great! Listen, since they bought all these studios, look at all the games in development now, first party games that are in
Mhm.
development have released and partnering, and notice how he took care of the ones who partnered with Microsoft and didn't essentially backstab them, like Ninja Theory, Undead Labs,
Right.
Playground Games, three off the top of my head, right? Or games that
Shit,
they
it wasn't
historically
just
had deals with, like Double Fine
yes
and
that they
Bethesda and all
had
of them.
actual history with.
Yeah,
Mhm.
look at how Phil took care of them, right?
Mhm.
As Issa say, to tie it all up, and then I'll pass the mic to Hebot. Owning property over licensing property, and absolutely perfectly put, Issa. And go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's a
Hey, man,
fact.
my bad. I cut myself off answering my son. Hey, what lie did you catch Unlimited in? It's always great when you catch an accountant in a lie.
That
What did he do?
he mentioned only Cuphead when that was going to be Lifetime, which it was also Ashen. He couldn't look it up, put it up and look it up. My
Way
brother
to
put it
get
up on
his
your
ass,
screen
he bot.
because Ashen was another one. And then when they did that, they're like, "Oh no, can we put it on PlayStation?" And then they put it on PlayStation. That shit didn't sell like for
Hmm.
shit,
Hey,
right?
and
And
and last thing before we move on, I know Unlimited want to go to another topic. Hey, Hebot, the only thing, what was that studio we were just talking about? The overrated studio, Insomniac. They, like you
Insomnia.
said, you covered the
Mhm.
engine part with
Mhm.
the game that Unlimited like. A lot of us like. I didn't. My boy Ramo loved that game. What was the game that they stole the engine from? That they made for Xbox?
Which one? Which one? You talking about? Oh,
That
Sunset. Sunset
was
Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
he bought ask these guys in the chat that love Insomniac so much, or
Yes.
not necessarily
Yeah,
our
yeah,
chat.
yeah, yeah.
Ask them
I know exactly where you're going. Go ahead. Go
ask
ahead.
them to play that trash Resistance. My PlayStation friend, you know how I like a first person shooter, dude.
Right.
I beat all of the Resistance games. They didn't.
Resistance is like a bootleg Halo.
Horrible. Go ahead, man. Y'all go ahead, Unlimited.
So real quick, so I could finish what I was saying, and you guys can change the subject. Two things. Another thing is that's what when people don't even realize. That's why when Microsoft in the second half of last generation started announcing other exclusives, they bought them. Even if they weren't going to make sequels, but at least they have the rights to them. And if they ever want to make one, they can. For example,
and they could make them for Xbox.
Exactly.
The Xbox ecosystem.
For I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Unlimited.
Missy Miyagi, thank you for joining. I've never seen you before, so welcome to the Unlimited Production.
Oh, welcome.
Indeed, a little bit of truth, but yeah, but no. I was just it was just like Ashen, Ashen devs explain why they went console exclusive on Xbox.
You see that, right?
PS4 and Switch. Same thing with Cuphead. Yeah, see, and that's why they passed up on. That's why they quote unquote passed up on the Marvel game, basically. And now could they leverage themselves and do it? Yeah, sure, but I don't think Microsoft clearly doesn't seem to want to split revenue.
I just don't think they want to deal with the headache no more. Unlimited, they don't.
They just had a whole 8-year generation of damn near every dev they work with that they didn't own gave them problems. Every fucking one. Crytek gave them problems. Insomniac ended up giving problems. Even the small guys, Moon Studios,
because they were all buying into the bullshit of shit, PlayStation so like hotcakes, but didn't understand that it was selling consoles but not units, game software. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. Which is the difference.
And it's funny that now in the PS5 era they finally admit that they would never admit that last gen. But yes, and not only that, I don't think they realize how PlayStation fans think, and that if a game's associated with Xbox, they hate you and they hate it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think
by default.
And what ended up happening is that when those games like when Cuphead went to PlayStation, all they did was say, "Ha ha, Xbox, you got no games." But
never bought it. They never bought it. And most of them are like, "Yeah, we got your game," but they never even bought it. They never played it. Yeah. Because it was all for them. It was just, let me brag now because we got one of their games and they don't got it. That was it. Right?
Hey, man.
And to tie that to the original topic, sorry there.
Right.
To tie that to the original topic, that's why articles like this, I question so heavily, because what they really want is to say, haha, Microsoft, you had to Redfall. That's what they really want. Let me
answer it real quick.
That's why, hold on, let me finish my sentence and then I'll let Zink speak and then you'll go after Zink.
Sure.
And so that's why when Deviation Games game was canceled, no uproar. Nobody came on the show and talked about, man, Sony's canceling games. When Sony literally said word for word, we cancel so many games, right? That was Yoshida, by the way, said that. When we cancel so many games, nobody came up and said, man, what games were they canceled? Or man, Sony's really mismanaged. That's and
mind you, that's a new developer they just bought. They didn't even release the game yet.
Yeah, exactly. and it's funny, and it's funny that's why I juxtapose stuff, because a game that did release you want us to hate, but when these games are literally canceled, nothing. This isn't mismanaged, but this is mismanagement. Get out of here now. Go ahead, Zink, and then
I'm gonna be real quick. And our new guy here, Mishi Miyagi, he bought that. This dude might be one of us. He got that Chuck Taylor logo on there. That's fire like a mug. Hey, but back to Unlimited, and I had a small disagreement. And you remember Unlimited? We were talking on one of the shows that Xbox need to drop more games unannounced. If Redfall would have been in everyone's hands at the same time, this bullshit wouldn't happen. But you're right.
Absolutely, I believe
they still need to market the games, but the release date, I don't think they should tell nobody shit. They should tell people like Unlimited he bought Sega Man, the collectors. Hey, you could put a down payment on this collector's edition here. You pay for it, we'll let you know when it ships.
Right,
And
right.
that's how you handle that portion of it. But the world is the video game landscape is so toxic right now. People,
Mm-hmm.
Spencer was mad at Arkane. Phil Spencer was mad at the media for the way they mercilessly
Yes, and they handled it
at
right.
the game. That's what they were mad at. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, real quick to finish off, like I was saying before, what I was trying to say, because Unlimited brought that article up, which I was saying to myself when I saw, like, bro, if that's not clickbait, I don't know what is. Because if people actually know the story, Redfall was being developed since 2017, which means Microsoft had no say in the creation of that game. What Microsoft did do was, when they came in and bought that Bethesda, they said, they probably showed them the game, like, yeah, finish it up, continue doing the work, and that's fine. We'll give you the time you need and the resources. And Phil Spencer was very clear in the fucking funny bullshit ass interview that it's almost like Arkane didn't realize when they said we'll give you unlimited resources that they meant we'll give you unlimited resources. Because by the time they realized they needed more help, it was kind of too late in the development and the game needed to be released, right? Which I'm assuming has to do with those technical issues and maybe some of the online fake functionalities, because Arkane never done a game like that, right? And so that has nothing to do. There's no way in the world that these people are saying, oh, that the developers like, oh, we don't want to make this game. And it can be no truth to that if the game was already being developed before Microsoft was even involved. And then Microsoft gave them an open purse, which is support. An open purse means support, because they believe in the project, right? Because it's different. Because not every game's supposed to look and be the same. Like I said, I'll go back to what Phil said.
Hold on.
One game to rule them all.
He makes me so sick. So you're trying to tell me that all our games shouldn't be over the shoulder, single player.
Absolutely. Well, Phil keeps saying, I'll keep going back to it. I'll keep quoting him. The one game to rule them all. Phil was throwing shade at Sony when he said that.
Right.
Because all their games are exactly the same as far as their structure. The over-the-shoulder, action-adventure, heavy on cinematic, one single-player gaming experience, and that's it. You cannot make a company and let it grow, especially when it comes to video games, with only one genre. That's unrealistic. Unrealistic. And you're starting to see that now affect Sony, and that's why they're trying to get into that, what they call it, free-to-play type of game, or gas games, what they call it now, right? And one more thing, that is also the reason why Phil, during the last half of last gen, what he did was, and people don't know this, he bought all the IPs. Recore was bought, Quantum Break was bought, even fucking Scalebound was bought. They reinstated the fucking license for that like 2 years ago, because the contract came to an end. They reinstated it again. Why? That's what happened with Alan Wake when they had it on, on Game Pass or Quantum Break. Remember that they were like, oh, they're taking it off. No, they had to redo the license because they bought the rights to the game. They bought the IP flat out for that same reason. So because they helped these companies like Remedy, like Armature Studio, and then if they don't want to work with them again, well, the games didn't do well, then, if we want to go back and revisit them in the future, we can do that. You see what I'm saying? That's why they outsource Battletoads with Delilah, and the game did well, right? So if they ever want to make a sequel, they can redo that again, because they have a smaller team that can actually handle that, and they outsource to somebody, and they still own the IP. Phil has always been, after Satya and him sat down, about ownership with everything Microsoft does from 2015 forward. That was the master plan, that was their goal, and that was their whole point. We're not going to be doing stupid fucking momentary only deals, and then we lose everything at the end of the day because they want to bring somewhere else after we fund it and put all the money down. Okay, that's why you see Sony trying to do all those deals with those little developers, like Korean ones that are coming up, that are doing the Project Eve game, and by the way, that game, what's it called? Project, the one they showed in the showcase with the samurai. Project Blade Zero, I think it's called.
Phantom something. Come on.
Phantom Blade Zero. It's not exclusive. And
Correct.
they said in their Discord, if Xbox gamers want it, just be vocal and come to Discord. So I'm plugging what they said. Come to the Discord and let us know you want it on Xbox. So all Xbox fans that enjoy and appreciate hack and slash, if you want that game, let them know. Let your voice be heard. Because they did the same thing with Inspector Gadget. With these people at Microids, and now Inspector Gadget is coming to Xbox because people were vocal and they spoke. Don't let them take that game like that. It's called Phantom Blade Zero.
Phantom Blade Zero.
Yeah, the one with the samurai. That's a hack and slash that looked really dope. It finally didn't look like a Bloodborne type of fucking game.
It looked pretty good. Hey, let me get real quick. Xbox has no games. He's a pony. He said Redfall is 30 frames per second, 52.
So it's back. So it's Spider-Man. So
hey, T-Bot, come on, man, you stole my thunder. Oh, yeah, man. See, you know what? Hey, see, Xbox has no games. This panel, this crew that we hang with, we know shit. You can't come up in here and talk shit. But here, I'll ask Unlimited this question because I'm gonna ask him after I answer this other question by him. He says the Xbox Series S is holding back gaming. Hey, the Xbox
Jesus Christ.
The Xbox Series S has more 120 frames per second games than the PlayStation. The Xbox Series S is playing Flight Simulator. That is an asshole of a game.
Brother Unlimited. Brother's game. The last I heard, all Sony exclusives are cross-gen.
He-Bot, have you... Hold on.
So how are they holding it back?
Microsoft
don't make Xbox One consoles no more.
Yeah.
So how is it holding it back?
I want to ask Unlimited this question because I know my boy Ramo, he like to hear Unlimited and Dia talk because they fire. What's up, Anthony Chipmunk, and my boy Wilkins and the rest of the guys. Hey, but Unlimited, how about this? Since Spider-Man, we've known Spider-Man is 3 frames per second for a few days now. Hey, Unlimited production, why hasn't the internet destructed yet?
Because it's good to play games on 30 frames on PlayStation. It's genius.
Yeah. Well, remember, and let me find that article.
Bring that up, Unlimited. Let them know.
Unlimited always pulling up some shit.
Let them know, Unlimited. Show it to them.
Hold on, let me.
Especially to the ones that want to have amnesia.
Here it is. PlayStation 5 games. While PlayStation 5 games at 30 frames per second is not only acceptable, but sometimes preferred. I think that answers your question.
That is amazing as the amazing.
By the way, He-Bot, Zinc, there are a couple of trolls in the chat. Do not address them. I'm not derailing the podcast.
That's okay. I like trolls. Let them be trolled.
Yeah, I'm not derailing the argue about lying about how PlayStation sold 50 million and Xbox sold 20. You know, when you lie that blatantly, I just can't. I'm not giving you attention.
Yeah, that's a drug addict comment. And I wanted to say something. This one guy that jumped in here, and his name happens to be Game Over. And he said it's game over for Sony, correct? And I will explain that on another show when we talk about this Activision acquisition. You know I'm loaded, but go ahead.
Sony's showcase, Unlimited, and other Zinc proved the position that Sony is in. Jim Ryan has been saying this for years now, right? For at least 2 years. We are trying to concentrate on more multiplayer gas style games for the future, right? Because it brings revenue. They need revenue to continue to fund games, which is why he was crying, oh my God, if you take Call of Duty away from us, we're going to be dead. That's why he said that.
Hey,
because
my turn. You too close to me. No, you too close to me now. See, people thought he was joking, T-Bot.
Yeah.
Everybody, they waited all of this time. The Brazilian documents were the best. They unloaded on Sony. Jim Ryan didn't think that those were going to be made public. That's how stupid he is.
Right.
He should have known better. I knew they were going to be public immediately. And he told us there, it'll take us 6 years in order to make a service like Microsoft. They have
he said 10 years.
10 years, unlimited call.
Hmm. Hmm.
Thought I could make it the whole show without getting caught. 10 years, dude.
Hmm. Hmm.
When he said they didn't have and when he basically said their
They don't
studio,
have the structure.
when he said they school studios are garbage, he was talking about you too, Naughty Dog. That's why you couldn't make factions. So they bought Bungie. That's why I keep telling y'all, Bungie, they did not overpay for Bungie. They had to. Bungie is a fantastic studio. They make great, their gameplay is phenomenal. They have the mentality to make a games as a service game. That's why they said, "Hey, Bungie, critique Naughty Dog." And Jim Ryan said, "Everybody thinks Naughty Dog is so great. They're garbage. We're going to have someone oversee what you're doing because you don't make us enough money to stay afloat." Game over. You're right. Their days are numbered.
Yep. So we're gonna move on to the next topic, and it's one that I really want to discuss with Hebot. And I'm glad Zink is here
Hmm.
because I think should make for good conversation. By the way, Terrence Smith said console sales don't matter when the game market is evolving. Yeah, that's absolutely true, and that's been the case for years. But yeah, so one of the big highlights of the PlayStation Showcase is a game coming to Xbox called Alan Wake 2, coming in October 17th, I believe, right?
Hmm.
And they said that the game will not have a physical edition. And uh, you know, as a collector, I have not transitioned completely to digital. I don't mind buying smaller games digitally, right? I don't mind the hi-fi rushes, for example. Okay, you didn't release a physical version yet. I could live with that. I This trend of only and I get it. You're going to cut the middleman out for production, and it's going to save a lot of fucking money when to release the game digital only when you don't need to put physical and pay for all that, right? However, you know, I'm not one who thinks that we're at it's the end of physical media altogether, guys. Or else Best Buy wouldn't still exist, even though it is clearly on a downtrend. Something like 80% of game sales are digital. But I want to have this discussion with Hebot in particular because me and him, we still buy games all the time. And so, Alan Wake 2, are you still going to buy it despite it having no physical edition?
I, it's a hard decision because it's one of those games you want to own, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the case of Alan Wake 2, I think what happened, right? There's no way in the world why this game should be not available physical because they're being published by Epic Games because Epic bought, a lot of their stake. But I think it's because of the result of, again, they bought the license from Microsoft, right? Or the publishing rights. They go and make the remaster
Hey,
of Alan Wake 1,
Hebot,
right?
hold on. Let me set you up. Let me set you up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, unlimited is correct. This pertains to Hebot, unlimited production. And as soon as you said that unlimited, I thought about your videos that I sat through. I said, "Oh, unlimited is doing one of these things. Let me go get something to eat." I'll put the video on pause. Go get something to eat and sit and watch Unlimited go through his gaming collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and Sega Man. All right. Now, here's the thing. Gaming has become more expensive. And the way you can mitigate that is, well, at least it may have changed. Pricing has changed, but at least the way it was when I was in college 30 years ago, 36% of all products is packaged. Then you also have a percentage of your product that is associated to theft. Okay? So you could eliminate that section there and get more to the profit.
Right.
So you could almost maintain inflation and the cost going up because we make more than we made 30 years ago. So you have to find that cost somewhere. And this is a way where they could subsidize a lot of this cost. So this is why you're going to get more of this. The way I would transition that, because there are too many people like Hebot and Unlimited and Sega, man. There are too many of you out there. So I would have a collector's edition. Sometimes you may not get the game, but you could get the statue, or you can get the game in a download code, but they'll appease you by giving you this statue of the game or something like that. But printing CDs is going to become a little bit scarce as we move on here a little bit. But go ahead.
No, what I'm trying to say, you're right. A lot of that is cost. Because a lot of people don't want to understand, and I explained it to my boys several times, that even though this may sell, let's say, like, you know how they say, oh, but look at Legend of Zelda, right? It sold 10 million copies. I was like, yes, it sold 10 million copies. But still, even though it sold 10 million copies, the developer is not making more money if they were just selling them digitally. Because 75% of the profits go directly to the developer when it's digital. You cut out the middleman completely. From restocking, from store shelves, shelf space, for paying for importing, paying for the box art, paying for the box itself, paying for overseas.
Man, you pay travel expenses,
expenses, all that stuff. That's the reason why they do it. Now,
everything going up. Go ahead.
Now, the reason why I believe that this is also what's going on with the situation with Alan Wake 2 is because of what I was trying to say was they did the Alan Wake remaster and made it physical. And it was a $70 game or $60 game, right? Unlimited. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember.
Alan Wake 1?
The remake, yeah. The one they did
that was $40.
What?
Yeah. Okay. It was super cheap when it came out.
They made the game, put it on PlayStation, and nobody bought it. So Epic is probably like, well, listen, we got all this money coming in with Fortnite. We never really did a physical. So why should we put this game physical and they didn't buy the first one? And I believe that's one of the biggest reasons why they don't want to do it. But they are outlets like Signature Edition, Unlimited Runs, where they can make a deal for people like me and Sega Man and Unlimited, where we do like collecting a physical copy of a version of the game, and we pay at our own leisure, and we pay extra because the games don't be no 70, sometimes they're 80, 90, 100, right? But we get what we want physically. They can still do that. Now, for what I understand, THQ offered them that they would not have a problem publishing the game physically for them if Epic doesn't want to do it. So there is that.
The way they could do that, man, is have mail order only.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say.
And
that's what a limited run is. That's what Signature Edition is. Basically, made to order only. If you order it, you get it. If you don't, you don't get it.
Yeah, and that sucks because once production runs out at those resellers will sell some of them for insanely expensive. That it's not even worth buying if you don't get the initial run of it. Basically.
Right, and that's why Microsoft doesn't like doing smaller runs of games. That's why Microsoft always wants to do a bigger run because they don't want people to oversell it in the aftermarket.
That's why you would do it in order only. And those games for the Unlimiteds, the He-Bots, and the Sega Man, that game would become a Nintendo game, a Mario Kart-ass game, where hey, this in 10 years that thing might be worth $400 or $500.
Yeah, the value.
Yeah, the value will increase heavily. The things like that. But go ahead.
But that's basically what I think is going on with that Unlimited. Am I happy with it? No. Will I purchase it? Probably so, because I was the guy buying Alan Wake 1 and not Red Dead when it came out.
Yeah, that's right. They did come out the same time.
I was that dude, and people were looking at me like I was crazy, But I told them, people lined up to buy Red Dead because they were following the pedigree from, a rock star with GTA, right? I didn't do that. I bought Alan Wake because it was something different. It was a game that was in development for like 5 or 6 years. It finally came out. I really wanted it. It reminded me a lot of like the Twilight Zone with the episodic stature, with the narrator and things like that. So I really wanted it. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I think Alan Wake was one of the best games of two generations ago from the 360 era that was completely overlooked and underlooked, right? And undermined. I think it was one of the best games, narrative-wise, single player. Which is funny because everybody talk all that shit oh, we want more single player narrative games, especially on the Pony side, but yet they didn't support it when the game came out remastered, right? And the game still holds well today. But I do feel disappointed that they're not making it physical. Will I buy it? Probably so, because I usually do. But I'm like you, I have no problem buying the smaller stuff because I know those guys don't have the publishers and they're mostly self-publishers and they got to do it themselves. And the game is small, $25, $30, that's cool. And they go on sale. Plus, when they're on Game Pass, we get a sale right away. It's day one also. That's another thing people fail to overlook. Plus, we got Bing, where we Bing it up. And when we can pay for it with our points.
Right. And when we buy games off Xbox Live, we get points. I didn't even know that.
Another thing, if you buy if you buy a controller, your game, they hit you up with like 3,000, 5,000 points right off the hip.
Mm-hmm.
So again, on the Xbox side is always a win-win because we have flexibility options. We don't feel like we're doing an investment and it's a waste of an investment. Mm-hmm. And that's not how that works on Xbox. Xbox tries to reward you and give you for everything you do around their ecosystem. And that's what makes it so easy to spend the money, like the controllers. We can buy controllers and not worry about for the next console because they already made the promise. Phil made the promise going forward. Every peripheral you buy, every controller you buy will work with existing consoles when they're new.
They're both forward and backwards compatible.
That's amazing, isn't it? And that's what I appreciate about Unlimited, man. When he had that controller Entourage he bought from the game that I love, Redfall. That was amazing. And all of our controllers, dude, you could continue to use them. And my boy Ramo, we talk all the time, man. And he jump in here is like, who let the ponies into the chat? Go find a PlayStation podcast. You're all delusional. And they are delusional. Yeah. But anyway, Unlimited, I know that's gonna hurt you bad, dude. But what do you think about all that? I equate what you guys are going through, because like my boy Ramo in the chat and everybody in the chat are my boys, but I talk to him personally all the time. We didn't even understand until our kids told us, like, no, you buy this game, we could share it. We didn't believe it until our kids told us, Right. But I equate what you guys are going through to my cousin and I, the way we used to buy records all the time. When I was in college, they transitioned to CDs only. They weren't making records anymore, and that hurt us, dude. We were like, damn, no more records. Right. What are you gonna do when the guy starts scratching? So go ahead, Unlimited. What you got?
Yeah. Definitely. The way I see it, man, this isn't, as long as it's not a trend. Okay, that if it's just one game, then whatever it is, what it is. But sometimes, especially particularly on Xbox, there does sometimes is an issue with the physical release of games. Like the other day, I just saw a game on sale called The Pathless. Right, it looks interesting, and I remember it first came out on PlayStation 5, and there's a physical copy, but it's only digital on Xbox, for example. That's a common thing that happens on Xbox. And as someone, listen, I've always said I'm both a gamer and a collector, right? So ideally, my ideal reaction to buying a game, Zinc, is to just purchase it physically, have it delivered.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Have it in my collection and all that other stuff, right? But there are a lot of trends but a lot of trends, Zinc and Hebot, it's almost like almost a concession that digital, digital is the better option. For example, there are a number of games like the latest Star Wars games. The game isn't on the disc particularly, so you might as well, is it better to get it digitally or physically?
There's a caveat. There's a caveat both ways, my brother, because if you get it digital, and the game's 105 gigs, it's taking up a lot of space on your memory.
Yeah.
Then you got to buy more memory cards, which are still expensive.
Yeah, but most of the time you have to download the game anyway. A lot of times, so it's just the key. But the one thing you get from a disc, though, sometimes you get better sound quality.
Well, Zink, here's the thing. It's uncompressed. It's uncompressed. A disc is always going to give you the best performance, no matter what.
And for people like myself and like Ramo have a killer stereo, and I have a great one also. But he just got this insane
But
stereo, and the sound that comes from it is ridiculous.
well,
When you have that
here's
CD
the
in.
problem thing. Here's the problem that I think Unlimited was also alluding to.
Well, here, hold on. Unlimited was saying something, and I could hear the pain in Unlimited's voice, and I
Mm-hmm.
sympathize with him. And like I said, it's just the two hardest courses I had in college was consumer behavior
Mhm.
and business policy and decision making. They were more difficult than business law.
Yeah.
So, and I'm looking at Unlimited when I watch those videos, and it's more than just a collection of a disc. Unlimited is the type of guy, and Unlimited, and I never had this conversation, but Unlimited is the type of guy that like to sit back and admire his collection. It's well
I'm the
put
same way.
on his wall, surrounding his TV. And sometimes I sit there and I'm like, damn, I'm like, he likes this shit. When this all goes away, this dude is gonna be pissed. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to.
Oh, was
I
that
wanted
you?
to add something real quick. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's two problems with this. The other problem is, like I said, like Unlimited was trying to allude to, if it's a AAA game, I think there should be room for both, no matter what, because it's a AAA title. Smaller titles, I get it, but the problem is there's too little messages trying to go around. Because the message that they're trying to go with a lot of developers is that they put it digital because they're trying to imply or trying to act as if Xbox guys don't buy games physically. You see what I'm saying? Like we don't support it or we don't buy it, which is bullshit. And if you don't believe me, go look at Dreamcast guy. The last fucking video they had, one of his videos he did, talking about that they don't buy games physical. And
No,
I
I
guarantee
don't
you,
think that's it, Heba.
and
It's
that's no,
strictly
that really is one of the general consensus. That's number one that they're trying to push, like the narrative, right? I'm not saying
narrative. Yeah,
right.
correct
I'm
with
not
that.
trying to
Yeah, okay,
say
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
that's what it is. I'm trying to say that developers are listening to that narrative because the people are trying to push. Xbox guys don't buy physical, right? Which I guarantee you, my collection, Unlimited's collection, Sega Man's collection, would I guarantee you that the Dreamcast card is nowhere near close to anything that we have.
But
That's number
Heba,
one.
with that being said, one of
Mhm.
those smaller developers said, "Hey man, when we put our stuff on Xbox through Game Pass, our stuff sells." And it
Right,
didn't
right.
sell like that on PlayStation. So they do have the numbers, but
Mhm,
the
mhm.
narrative, and like you and I talk all the time about perception, it's a perceived value that
Mhm,
isn't accurate,
mhm.
like Unlimited, like to bust people out and just put the shit up on the screen.
Right. Well,
But
it's developers that probably never worked for Xbox before. You get what I'm saying? Like the guys who did Pathless, the Pathless that he's talking about, which it looks like a cool game, which was on sale. They did do a physical, but those probably I don't think ever worked with Xbox, right? But here's the other problem. The other problem is Microsoft is trying to print out games the cheapest they can, right?
Mhm.
On physical format. So they're still using the old 50 gig disc. PlayStation for PS5 in particular, they use the 100 gig disc,
Oh
which is
yes.
more
Yes.
expensive.
I
But
get all of that, Heba,
you could fit more the whole game in the disc. And
but
I
the
think that's why people be like, oh yeah, just do a physical because they used the 100 gig disc
mm-mm, mm-mm.
and we don't got to worry about also putting it on hard drive.
But Heba, if
Microsoft,
that's not it though. But because
no, that's one of the issues I'm saying.
it,
It
it
is
it
one of the issues.
it is, but even with Sony is pushing they really want to push everything away from disc because it's
Mhm.
costing them more money. It costs
So
them
yeah,
more money on the back end.
yeah.
But
But
right,
what I'm talking about is those
it,
other developers, like the ones that come in with the idea of, oh yeah, we'll do physical for fun for Sony, but not Xbox. That I think that's one of the other reasons because they're like, oh, the disc is not enough space,
Yeah,
but
right?
and
Heba,
not only that, when the game comes out first on PlayStation, by the time it hit Xbox, and there are so many examples.
They have
Near
like DLC
Automata,
too.
yeah,
Hmm.
near Automata. I could go down the list. The Pathless, so many games when they released first on PlayStation, they had a physical. By the time they hit Xbox, it's just 100% digital. You know,
Mhm.
and again, the collector in me, I still get a kick out of whenever I'm on, because I live like 5 minutes from my closest. I live 5 minutes to my closest GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart. So I got super easy access to your brick and mortars, basically. So I could go to a game right now. I could step away right now, come back, and let Hebot speak, and I'll get like 10 games from my local store before Hebot even finishes. That's how close I live to everything, right? So for me, Zinc, since I got such easy access, it's super easy for me to just build my collection, basically, and keep playing these games, But so when I see stuff like this, where Alan Wake 2, this is a unique situation, and it could potentially be the next trend of bigger games just saying, we're just going to do it digitally.
Right.
It means let less hit on us financially. More people, more and more. Listen, somewhere between 80 to 90 video game sales, depending on where you see the statistics, are digital. And since it's such a large majority, guys, I could see more and more game devs and publishers just thinking, let's just follow the trend, right? Let's just follow the trend.
Which you don't want, especially with AAA games. It's generally the case. AAA games that have both formats. They should cover their people that love digital, like E-Rock and our brother Zinc, and people like me and you that love the physical, because they have the money. There's no excuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But what, guys? The thing is, the chief thing is, this is the way they keep costs down.
Yes, exactly.
If they wanted to go with that massive disc, that disc costs money that Sony put on it. They don't want to pay that. That's going to eat the cost of it, because the wages are higher now.
But you know what they could do? I'm sorry. You know what they could do? It's because I thought about it when you said it. They could do what they did with Nier Automata and what they did with Hellblade.
No,
when the game had when they had all the success digitally, right? They actually brought out after the fact, because it did so well, a physical copy. They made a physical copy of Hellblade and they made a physical copy of Nier.
But even with that being
said, I think it'll be easier on the pocket. That's what I'm trying to say.
I understand that, and I understand both of you, and that's why I said they'll have to come with the collector's edition, and they're going to pass the cost to Hebot, Sega Man, and Unlimited Production. But they're going to make so much money off of it, and when you make money off of digital, they're bringing that money in so they can make part 2. And if they make enough sales with 1, you'll see a part 2, or it'll just turn into a Sony game where you're not going to see Drive Club anymore. You're not going to see MotorStorm anymore. Days gone.
Because that's a good point. That's a good point that you're saying. That's also the reason why games like Drive Club, games like The Order died and didn't do well, because they didn't sell, and they brought them out physical. That's all good. It's like a double-edged sword. And it sucks because there are purists like us that like physical and deserve it, but we understand the reason as well behind all the changes.
And you know what, man? And I do want to hear what Unlimited have to say, because I'm looking at this, and I saw it a couple weeks ago how it was ramping up, and especially with the Sony show, and they said this is going to be download only. I'm like, Unlimited is going to be disappointed. Go ahead, Unlimited.
Well, here's the thing. I got my collector's edition of Assassin's Creed Mirage pre-ordered, right? The moment a Starfield collector's edition controller, whatever they do, is announced, I'm hitting up Xbox.com and getting my copy, right? That's the kind of collector I am. When I want something, I get it, basically. But with something like this, I'm
gonna send you the picture.
It does.
I'm gonna send you the picture of the controller for Starfield that's going around, so you can put it on screen.
Yeah, and then so with something like this, Hebot, and Zinc in chat, it's just like, okay, I'll try it. I enjoyed the first Alan Wake. You know what I'm saying? So of course I like Remedy games a lot. Control, especially Quantum Break. That's my favorite they've made so far. So of course I'm gonna play, because I like Remedy. Listen. Their distribution method, and I've said this about, notice how I say this about pretty much any game I like, right? Nothing is going to stop me from playing a game I like, basically. And that's the case here. It just sucks that, man, it's going to be tied to my Xbox account and not my and not in my collection. And you've seen the background of my videos when I do some stuff.
It's not going to be on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. And awesome picture there, Hebot. I'll put it on screen in a second. Yeah, so that's my thoughts in a nutshell, man. It's if this is a one-off thing, I could live with it. If this is the next trend of since as Zinc perfectly put it, it's going to save a lot of money to not worry about distributing and printing copies and packaging and all that other stuff, right? So that's going to help them at least that way, but it's going to suck as a collector if that's the next big trend. Which the thing about trends is that they start slow and then build up. So right now you'll see, okay, this is just so you could say, okay, this is just one game though, Unlimited. That doesn't mean Starfield, this and that. But eventually one game turns to 2, 2 turns to 4,
correct,
4 turns to 8, 8 turns to 16. Before you know it, I'm really gonna be a dinosaur with my collection videos, and they're gonna be kids one day watching these videos like, what the fuck is that? When they used to put video games on discs, that's crazy. The same way a kid would see a Game Boy Color now and think, what's that tiny ass screen? Or they try to poke at it thinking it's touchscreen or something.
And make fun of it, right? And don't realize how big it was. Which, by the way, guys, real quick, shame you guys need to watch the Tetris movie. It was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So with that, I'm gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna do one more thing here, and then we're gonna call it a night because I gotta ask a question. Because I see the chat, you guys been firing. You guys have, you guys are not letting up on certain trolls. So let's see. Game Over here says Spider-Man 2 is going to be the same game as the first one with the same thing. Yeah, man, it was a trip because people were praising the fact that you could play in Queens now in Spider-Man 2. That's how little innovation there is left in these fucking games.
Unlimited, let me jump on you for that. Hey, Unlimited, I was watching one of the this one show, and this girl was on, and she said, come on, Spider-Man got to give us something different. And she said this, dude, I promise you I'm not making this up. She said, I'm from Queens. Please don't say you're going to Queens and Queens is new. And when I saw that show, dude, in Queens, he was going to Queens, I was dying laughing, dude. It was hilarious. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. You know what it is, brothers, think that they wanted the game to be co-op because you can play as Miles and as Spider-Man, which would have made a lot of sense. But again, we'll go back to what we've always said. Sony doesn't have the online infrastructure, and they've never made co-op games.
That's not it, Hebot. They're stupid, and their PS5 is garbage. Mark Cerny is not intelligent. That's why they can't do co-op. Stop being nice, Hebot. Go ahead.
Well, they don't have the infrastructure. They really don't. They never had. They never had engineers and developers that actually do. Because remember, it would have to be untethered, just like the way Redfall is.
Right.
By the way, it would have to be untethered because they would have to go in their own direction at any time or at any point to make it feel seamlessly. Keyword, right? Because they can't be in the same area at the same time and feel like they're tethered, not non-tethered, and not be able to go wherever they need to. So that's the big reason why it would have to be untethered, and that's something that they couldn't accomplish. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, one thing I don't like about the Spider-Man games is Miles Morales, and not because he's black. It's not a racial thing. It's the fact that had you guys ever been
racist to your own people? Wow.
Yeah, I know. No. But all jokes aside, have you guys ever been to New York?
Yes.
Why does Miles Morales sound like a Valley girl, California Valley girl when he talks?
I'm glad you said that.
He got such a. He's supposed to be like a 17-year-old teenager, but he sounds like a 13-year-old girl. Oh,
maybe it's the Puerto Rican in him. I don't know.
No, hell, Puerto Ricans don't sound like that either. You know damn well, man.
No, they don't.
I'm trying to score my own people. Stop it.
This is how Miles Morales be sounding on every single time he talks. I don't know, Peter. You got to help me out. And it's like, dude,
terrible.
Who's voicing this fucking kid?
Terrible.
If he's from New York, he should be like, Peter, go fuck yourself. I got this.
Oh yeah, for sure. He doesn't have that New York accent. He definitely needs that.
He's supposed to sound like FaZe, our brother FaZe, not like he grew up watching Clueless.
Yeah. And remember the internet found a new word, biomes. Where's his? Where's Spider-Man's at? They are actually showing the exact same buildings in the other Spider-Man games as in this one that we just saw.
Well, yeah, that's because it's in New York City. New York City does not look different from it did in 2018.
But Unlimited on New York is huge. At least give us different buildings, dude. Go to Rochester.
At least go to the Bronx,
Hey, dude,
or Manchester, or Buffalo.
Whoa, Keybot, you're spoiling the map for Spider-Man 3.
See, yeah, and throw Rochester in there, throw Long Island in there.
Yeah.
You know, just like, dude, this. I mean, come on, man.
Rikers Island, shit. You can go to Rikers Island.
That will legit be dope if there's a mission of Spider-Man fighting bad guys in Rikers Island.
Statue of Liberty.
Hold on 1 second, Unlimited. It's a new troll that just came in the chat.
All right.
DL4568, why are you not in here?
Hey, she said I missed out on the podcast. Hey, Unlimited Zinc, and
He's trolling us. He's trolling us.
Hey there, everyone in the chat. Yeah, and unfortunately, we're gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. So, she'll join us next time.
I was looking forward to hearing Dia. And I tell you what, Unlimited, you're gonna have to pull a Sega, man, because the guys in the chat are pissed at these ignorant Sony fans that came in here, think that we're not smart in here. You need to go read Jason Schreier's stuff if you want to read stupid people, bro.
Right.
Jeff
He's too busy playing Redfall. That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
He's smarter than us.
Yeah. So this dude, Xbox has no game. So you know where he's coming from with this nonsense. Final Fantasy 16, we have different modes you can choose from, up to 60 frames per second, unlike Redfall, 52 Metacritic. I don't listen. How about this? Hold on. One second. Answer me this. How come Ratchet and Clank could only happen through the PS5 SSD, but it's still come to PC?
Oh man.
And Ratchet and Clank is only 40 frames.
Yeah, I thought that powerful PC meant only Sony. Cause didn't y'all tell us that Sony could only do the
SSD?
Yeah, y'all told us that it could only. So hold. How about this? You guys, you trolls, hold Sony to the same standards you pretend to hold Xbox to, and then maybe I'll give you more light of day with nonsense. But other than that,
I caught Dia in a lie.
Oh, what'd she say?
She said, "You guys can hold it down without me." Hey, we need our better half over here, okay? Yeah, we always need that. It's too many people that like Dia.
So yeah, man, everything's great on Xbox. Everything. I will pirate Ratchet and Clank. Jesus, Mishi.
Terrible.
Hey man, and I gotta apologize to the chat. Unlimited caught me off guard, caught me out the house when I should have been at home, because we would have read a lot more of these comments by now.
Yeah, man.
Oh, and let me give a little information to our brothers in the Xbox community, which I've never seen anyone talk about. Even though they always have a lot to say as far as the emulation goes, right? You know that when you get the dev mode kit on your Xbox, right? Funny how no one ever said that when you do that and you pay that measly $20 that they try to make it seem that's too much, you can have access to that dev mode on 3 units, not 1.
Oh, neat.
And another thing I found out was you can still record on your hard drive in 4K to upload it. So I'm back, baby.
Hey, hold on a second, Unlimited. I know we got to get out of here, but somebody said it in the chat, and of course, we would have read it first. Unlimited Dia called Unlimited in a lie.
Oh yeah, she said stop. The SSD could stop time.
Hey, so I had to push pause when I saw that. I had to get my laugh out. Hey, so anyway, back to Hebot. I got a question for you, Hebot.
Yes, sir.
I know Unlimited want to get out of here. I'll leave.
No, we're not in a rush. It's just that this ain't Sega Forever. We don't do 4-hour podcasts.
True that. I like that dude though. Hey, so anyway, Unlimited. This dude had me listening to a podcast at like 3 a.m. I'm like, oh shit, and and I was commenting back and forth. I was like, hey man, I gotta get up in a couple hours.
Yo, he should be. You know what? Sega doing a podcast with him, that should be a barometer barometer for if you're good enough for us, man. Because if you survive that, you could survive anything.
Yeah, and I want to get on with them too.
When Daya did a whole 4-hour show with her, I knew she was a real one for real, man.
Oh hell yeah, he could definitely hold it down.
That show ended at like 4 a.m. and she was still going. I was like,
and it was a good show. It was a good show.
And I'm trying.
They always good.
Go ahead. I'm trying to get this question in, but here comes here comes Mr. Kima with his bullshit. At 848, Ratchet and Clank runs at 30 frames per second on that fast PS5 SSD.
Oh yeah. Well, 40, I think is the highest if you choose performance mode, and it's the preferred mode according to John Lederman. He said, "Oh, it's beautiful in 40 frames. It's the new 40, the new 60."
Hebot, you making my eyes roll back in my head. Hey, let me ask you this question.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
We actually talked about this for a second on Unlimited show the other day.
Okay.
How about during that PlayStation showcase? How about that new handheld that you could walk around the house and play? One of the guys put that in the chat and I lost it. But how about that, Hebot?
That was beautiful. That made me go sell my Xbox immediately. That shit was gorgeous.
I agree with that.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Look, it's the same shit they did with the PSP via remote play. These dudes suck it up and eat up anything. They thought they were going to get a brand new handheld.
Hold on, look at this. Sorry to cut you off, but you gotta see this shit, man.
Unlimited. Here he go with
PlayStation 5 only exclusive Spider-Man 2 info dump. You can switch between Peter and Miles in the open world thanks to the PS5 SSD. Hold on, wait a minute. How's GTA 5 playable then? How's GTA 5 playable? You switch between
exactly. I guess GTA 5 was the first real SSD champion then. Like for real.
You gotta watch Unlimited, dude. We talk about something, he pull it up on the screen.
Here's you find the craziest shit, and people be saying some crazy shit.
Here's a good one. The game's visuals will improve before launch.
Wow. I mean, I guess it won't. I guess that launch ain't no time soon then, because that shit's supposed to come out in September.
Yo, traversal is sped up thanks to the PS5 SSD. Like, why is this SSD treated as God's gift to gamers?
Well, let me ask a question. And hold on, why is it that they're treating the lizard like a crocodile man?
Oh yeah, the lizard, one of Spider-Man's enemies. Yeah. I forgot about that. But here's the last one. Game map is roughly twice the size. Brooklyn and Queen editions.
Wow.
Holy! This game sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you. They be saying.
Hold on. Wait a minute. We could. They were bitching that we could jump through planets on Starfield. Remember that? So we could go planets on Starfield. That's an issue. But you could swing in Queens and Brooklyn now. Not even all the 5 boroughs. Just 3 of them. Yeah. Go kiss Spider. That's why. Listen, Spider. That's why Spider. Listen, and I listen, guys. I am not lying when I say I enjoyed Spider-Man. That shit like that is why it's not God's gift in gaming. Because I've been playing Spider-Man games all my life. You know, they all 99. If Spider-Man, other than games like Shattered Dimensions and Edge of Time, they all take place in New York. So swinging through New York and seeing big buildings don't impress me. You know what I'm saying? That's right. The Beanox game started the way that you swing, and this one, it's the exact same swinging mechanic from those Activision, the Beanox Activision games. The exact, isn't it, Ebot? The exact.
Well, Beanox actually implemented the ability that you can swing with your individual hands via triggers. So that means when if you have a building on the right side and you press the right trigger, you'll swing with the right hand. If you have a building on the left, the same thing. Or if you have it on both sides, you can do it both at the same time. Now, if there's no building, you ain't gonna swing shit. It misses and you'll fall down. But those are the little details Beanox put in that you don't even have in the new Spider-Man. The new Spider-Man just press A, and he pretty much does everything for you.
Hey, he said
with the comment that PS5 SSD that allows you to watch the movie Gran Turismo while Xbox players play Starfield.
That's terrible.
No, I saw that shit. Terrible. I almost dropped my phone trying to push mute.
That's terrible.
That is an award-winning comment right there.
That is terrible.
That version, that PS5.
Yeah, that SSD powerful because that trailer looked real as fuck. Yeah, you right.
Oh man, yo, and it
You
was
right.
fun. It was funny, man. When
Golly.
you know, people thought that was going to be a DLC or something. It turned out to be a movie
The movie trailer on a game show,
on a. It's
mind
funny.
you.
We've got like what 3 major expansions on Forza Horizon 5 since Gran Turismo came out.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Yes,
man,
sir.
that was fantastic.
Or when Microsoft did the reveal and they only show what you can do with media, and everybody was, oh, it's all about movies and not games. It wasn't even on the actual E3 show, and yet
Yeah.
this wasn't called out. After 5 years of waiting, this is what they showed you.
And I'm glad Unlimited stuck it right there on too, man. So you guys don't like the Xbox console, Game Pass, Phil Spencer, and Microsoft management, or anything that our Xbox offers. So in bold print, so why are you here? Go
Yeah.
to your PlayStation, enjoy your games. Hey,
Right.
dude, you don't see us infiltrating Sony sites. You
Or Sony podcast. When
No.
Porter does the podcast, we don't go over there because I don't care what he has to say.
Y'all not talking about no games, dude. Y'all talking about Xbox. We could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all don't know shit about Xbox. So why should we listen to you? Like Jason Schreier writing about Redfall. Hey, Jason, did you play the game with your can't beat the Cuphead tutorial ass?
A lot of these people who hate it didn't play it for a second and just based their opinion off review scores.
Oh, that's commonplace.
I hate to interrupt,
shit
but
about
I'm gonna tell you something. If I didn't give a game a chance, because the beginning of my second or third favorite game in 50 years, if I would have stopped playing shortly after I began playing the game because it was boring, I would have missed out on Mass Effect.
Mhm.
Okay, because the game didn't get exciting to me. I was falling asleep at the 3 hour mark. Something happened. I was like, "Damn, what the hell was that, dude?" I woke up and I wanted to start the game over, but I went ahead and I finished it, ran that bitch right back, dude. Mass
Should
Effect.
I listen to those comments?
Yeah.
Other thing, I would have missed out on Punisher. I would have missed out on Kane and Lynch. Remember, those games got a 1 from Giant Bomb because they were so bad.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
You understand? And it was the same guy, whatever that other Jeff dude that was there. That was the fat dude. He's the one who said those things.
Yo,
Or Ninja Blade for that matter.
Yeah, man. And this
Yeah.
dude, Terrence Smith Jr., he's been smacking it since I've been driving around in the car. Too, man, they can't enjoy their games because it's a dry year for them. It's a dead desert tumbleweed year for those dudes.
I mean, Terrence, you're right, but by that logic, every year is a dry year because they never stop talking about. Listen, they've been coming to our shows and stalking us, even when they said PlayStation had games. So every year must be a dry year on that console. Oh, he bought drop. Doc Vaca said Cat Quest day 1 on Game Pass. Is he joking or is it really day 1 on Game Pass? By the way, Cat Quest is going to be a popular game according to the chat because y'all been talking about that nonstop since that game was first shown.
No, the only reason they're talking about it is because Tuck Master.
Yeah, no, I know.
Tuck Master was going off.
Hey man, you get to play as cat pirates. What's better than that, huh?
And
you get Stray and Sea of Thieves all in one.
Absolutely. And then Wilkins took a shot at Hebot at 8:54 p.m. He said, "You can swing in the middle of Central Park, Hebot." damn game.
Oh man. That's hilarious, man. But we had a great night tonight, everyone. It started. We started about the Redfall news, which okay, and it just went in a whole different way than expected. I'm glad it did because it was so much fun hanging you guys and hanging with Zink and Hebot. Daya, next time gonna make sure Daya's around. Sigaman's gonna be joining us more because he'll be working days during the summer, so he could join us as well. So man, it's a really, really good time. Mishi Miyagi said traded my PS5 for a cup of ramen. Yeah, and you probably got more out of that ramen at PlayStation 5 too. Let's see what else. did Jason the liar hold on to the article about Redfall because that factions good question, Vodka.
Yeah, Baca been loading it up, man. He been sending stuff to me, man, that, I'm gonna wait till we, uh get on another show.
Mhm.
Because Vodka, he provides me with a lot of stuff, just ammunition to just smash people to death for God.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah, man. Vodka's that dude, and you know, it's funny. It's funny. And by the way, what we saw today, and I completely forgot to mention this. This is our annual. You know what this is, Zink? The annual pre Xbox showcase media downturn. And what that is, that every year at around June before the Xbox showcase, the media ramps up some weird negative article. Now, over the years, for example, in 2018, everybody was selling their Xbox because of State of Decay and Sea of Thieves. And that's 2020 and 2019. Pretty much once a year at this time of year, Zinc, you get articles like it's for some reason, and I don't know. I guess because they know that these shows be great, and Xbox the only one who gives us shows consistently.
Yep.
So they just try to make sure the aura around Xbox is as negative as possible. Because you remember, there's a year Jeff Keighley leaked the Xbox One X price before that showcase. I think that was 2017 or 2018 as well, right? I remember that one. So it's just like, so this is just typical, and all it's going to do is nothing significant.
Yep.
The people who don't like Redfall aren't going to, they got a 5-minute kick out of it, as I saw in the chat. Right, but so what? Yeah, Day, it is time for these fakes to sell their Xboxes again. Yeah, it's that time of year, and you know what sucks? I still can't find that Halo Xbox Series X console for all the selling they've been doing. So
And you're right, Unlimited. It's a smoke screen. Xbox is about to have a killer show. They know it. It's time for Jason Schreier to dump that article that people can hate Xbox for. After an entire month, and you just had all of this horrible PlayStation news that just came up.
Yes, canceled games. People are fired, layoffs. Games like Knights of the Old Republic is in development hell. Factions in development hell. They got no roadmap, right? So that means no games. People don't know what first party games are coming to the PlayStation after Spider-Man, because there's no Spider-Man doesn't even have a release date.
They do have a roadmap. It's a 2-game roadmap of Spider-Man and Wolverine. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the roadmap.
Yeah. Neither game has release dates. Wolverine has no gameplay. So how's that a roadmap when in 10 days we're going to get even more Starfield, potentially Fable, from what people were saying? Just so many games we know are in development from Xbox. Right?
And you forgot something else, Unlimited. How about they just finished dropping PSVR 2? Why ain't they playing?
Oh, that's right. And that flopped. Listen, that flopped so hard. People were legit trying to tell me, Zing, that selling 600,000 units of PSVR was a good thing. That's how bad that flopped, right? Let's see. Xbox Online said, "Unlimited truth, bring the pain, bro." Yeah, man, they deserve it. You see how crazy they be acting. Mishi here said Xbox having their showcase in theaters. Watch PlayStation copy next. Man, PlayStation. That's if PlayStation could afford that, man. But yeah, I forgot about that. They're doing the showcase in theaters.
Sony did do showcases in theaters, I believe, but they didn't give everybody a $10 voucher to buy snacks and make it free if you had that voucher. That's what Xbox is doing. They giving you a $10 voucher, and you know how expensive the damn movies are, dude.
Right.
Yeah, even though they give you $10 at my theater, you're gonna have to add $5 to get some popcorn.
Right. Yeah. Game Over said, "I'm looking forward to Xbox showcase. See more Hellblade 2." Yeah, I hope we see. And that's the beauty of Xbox right now. Zink and Game Over. There are so many games in development for Xbox. You could almost pick and choose, and you'll be excited for something. Avowed, Fable, Hellblade, you name it. Forza, how can I forget Forza Motorsport? We're going to get the release date of that most likely.
You know I can't. Hey, Unlimited, that's a better thing. How about because I saw a couple people talking about it, and sometimes I get tired of watching shows and they talk about this doom and gloom shit. Dude, we got so many games. We could close on what we want from the show. And I'll go first because mine is short and simple. All I want is a Forza Motorsport release date because that's the only time you guys may not catch me on the show because I'll no life that damn game. I want to see, and I also want to see something new, anything new that's good. And there's one more thing I wanted to see. I wanted that Forza date. Of course, I know Starfield is coming, and my surprise would be if they showed something Gears,
Right. Yeah,
and that's all I need.
you're right. Yeah. I don't need much either because I already know they're going to kill it. But if they show Val, it's going to be 10-10 no matter what else they show from me. You know, if X show me proof that Xbox is dying, which company makes more money? Which brand is more valuable? You know, which one is buying Bethesda and Activision? And then please don't give me this excuse that Sony don't need Activision. It's nonsense. If they had the money to buy it, they would in a heartbeat. So if you show me proof that Xbox is dying, then I'll delete my channel. But since you can't and you won't, I have nothing to worry
That
about.
dispels another rumor. Unlimited, they say Sony has been a market leader for 20 years. 20 years as a market leader. What do you have to show for it? Why can't you buy ZeniMax? Why can't you buy Minecraft? Why couldn't you buy Gears from Epic? Why couldn't you buy Activision since you've been the market leader for 20 years? Where's your money? It's like you give your kid $20 to go to McDonald's. Hey, where's my change at?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where's your money at, Sony? What you doing? I could tell you're not making that much money. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah. And with that, we're going to give our final thoughts and call it a night. So, Zinc, man, anything you want to leave us off with?
No, man, I'm good, man.
Oh, hold on. Vodka sending out a challenge to you, man.
Rally times, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this is motorsport. You get those Daytona times, and the one thing I do want, I want pit crews in Forza Motorsport.
Oh, yeah.
I do want that. So, but no, man, I'm good, man. I'm just glad I was able to jump on at the last minute. And I can't wait for the team to show up. We need D out here. I want E-Rock back. I want Sega Man up in here, and I want Tuckmaster talking his shit.
We might have to bring back a toxic version of the Exile podcast because the chat is hilarious, man. Mishi here said PlayStation bought Firewalk, a AAA Chinese buffet.
and Jay Dizzle say what I always say: Spider-Man is so damn overrated. None of that sounds interesting.
Yeah. No, well, see, it's interesting to me because I love superhero games. Love it. I'm a huge comic book fan and all that other stuff. So I've always been enjoyed those type of games.
But you know what? Like I was gonna say this when you and Hebot were talking. Spider-Man and Hebot was talking about how same Spider-Man has been for 36 or 37 iterations. If they would have incorporated campaign co-op, that would have been a difference maker.
Right. Terrence Smith with a great call. He said, I'm calling it now. Forza Motorsport is the next stealth drop. That would actually be brilliant. And here's why. Forza has such an established fan base that I don't think you need to do much, right? You know what I'm saying, Zinc? So if they do a stealth drop for Forza, like Forza drop at the end of this show or something, that would be earth-shattering, and Forza would be instantly successful.
The only reason I would still be on the show is because that big ass file would take that long to download. But as soon as that mug said ready to play, Zinc would be gone.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame you, man. And I wouldn't blame you. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy the weekends Friday. So technically, once you get off work, it's going to be the weekend. But you know what I mean. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day, and we are out.